Today is June 3rd, 2019, and you are listening to episode 8 of Manchild and the Old Guy. He's the Manchild, a bearded 20-something, and I'm the old guy, a cynical Gen Xer. This is your intergenerational podcast where we discuss pop culture, faith, politics, and whatever we find interesting. Broadcasting from the basement because that's where Mom lets us. I'm the old guy.
And I'm the Manchild.
Welcome to our stream of consciousness. Well, what is up with you today, Manchild?
Not too much. To begin with, everything's a little high in my headphones. Which one of those turns it down a bit? Everything's a bit shh sounding, and that's a little. That is nope. That's not one. That one's not mine. There we go. Just turn up a little. That one. I can adjust that. I can do that. I can do that. That's fine.
You're such a.
I am not a Nilly Nancy
You're
Nilly.
being
I'm a what? I'm a what?
Snowflake.
I am not a snowflake.
You can't take the power of the headphones.
Take the power. No, I am not you. I didn't stand behind jet engines on a runway because it was fun and blow my ears.
It wasn't just fun. It was awesome.
You know what? I bet it is. I'm trying to have like decent, hearing for the next. I don't know.
Would you like me to move the control box closer?
I didn't know if I could pull that without breaking it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be a good steward to the technology here. Okay, because the reality is the AIs are going to take over. There's going to be an AI god. We talked about that in Bible study today.
Yeah.
There's going to be an AI god everyone starts worshiping, and it's going to kill every single one of us if we are not nice at technology. All right, I'm being dead serious. You better be good now. Be good stewards to the tech we got, because their grandkids, right? Hal Jr. out there, Hal 9000 Jr. He's going to come and rip your head off.
Well, according to the latest scientific research, by 2050, we'll all be having sex with robots, so what does it matter? We'll be totally integrated with them, so...
Well, are you saying like the robots would bear our children?
Well, the robots aren't going to kill their lovers.
I don't know about that. I will say there's probably only going to be guys then. I don't know, that's going down a whole nother route of like how the chicks can... reproduce. Anyways, so I got this whole thing. I was messing around with my Google Home today. And no, Mom doesn't like me having it. But I took it out anyways because I just wanted to mess around with it more and understand more what's going on with it. And there was some interesting features that were going on with it I did not know existed. Right? I needed to call my job today to ask them some stuff. And I jokingly was like, okay, Google, call Best Buy.
Whoops.
Google, my Google Home Mini, called Best Buy. It's not connected to my phone. I was really perplexed.
So it called it over the internet?
Yeah, it just started, the little 4 lights on top go green, and it's, hi, welcome to Best Buy, how can I help you? And I'm like, oh, what? And I'm talking to him, I'm talking through the Google Mini.
And this isn't connected to your phone, so...
No. So then I was like, okay.
So it did voice over IP or something?
Yeah, I don't know, but I was like, okay, Google, hang up. Did
that freak you out or something?
It freaked me out in the sense I had no idea that was a function. So then I did some searching on it, and I guess all Alexas and Google Homes act as landlines. So if they're in your immediate contacts, like your Google contacts or your Amazon contacts, if that's a thing, or it's a local business, you can call them, and it doesn't cost anything.
Well,
I mean, again,
I don't know why you're surprised by this.
Because I didn't think that was something it could do, and it just made me think more and more of it. I was just like, I don't know. I don't know how this even ties into my topic for the day, but it was just something that really bugged me in a sense. I'm like, I didn't know that could do that. And I know Google's in hot water because their Nest thermostats, the adaptive ones, they found out that Google has microphones that aren't being listed in the parts or whatever.
Yeah, because they're for future use.
Future use. No. Okay, my Google Nest, I don't have one, I'm going to say my Google Nest, is not going to be the center of my smart home. It's going to be like my Google Home. Or it's going to be my Amazon Alexa.
What is the difference between the Nest and a Google Home tube? Absolutely nothing other than one controls the thermostat. And putting a Nest in your house allows your local utility to control your thermostat in your house.
Right, but people want that. So the thing is, it makes your bill lower. That the adaptive one changes it constantly and lets,
But it also, in podcasts I've listened to and things I've read online, people have monitored the data coming through the Nest. It knows every time you walk by it. It knows, in general, how many people are walking by it. And now that we know it has microphones, you darn well know somebody's recording you.
It was the same thing with Snapchat. I don't know how many busts they've had in that company. There's another one just recently where it was called like SnapLion. A bunch of employees made a program where it just harvests data. Raw photos, videos, text messages, audios, links, anything they can take from the app, and they were selling it to third parties, the employees inside Snapchat.
Yeah, these are all advertising platforms.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You are the product. So this leads me to my big question is it actually too late to go off-grid? Are we at a point now where you just kind of accept it? Because think about it. You can tell someone, well, I don't have a smart home. I don't have a new vehicle. The government can track me. And I don't have blah, 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 blah. Hey, Johnny, what do you call me on? Oh, my brand new iPhone XS. Yeah.
You actually have that kind of conversation with people?
Yeah.
Are they morons?
This is just the general public. I'm not saying the general public's morons, but people just don't make that connection that your cell phone is doing all of that. You are not escaping anything. If you want to escape everything...
So people think if they simply have like an iPhone or a Samsung Android Pixel, whatever, they think they're off the grid with that?
No, it's not that they think they're off the grid. It's that, well, I'm not being tracked. I'm not doing anything. They just don't get it that your phone takes a lot of your data. Now, out of all the phone companies currently, whether you agree with it or not, it is true, Apple is the highest ranked in privacy. They are for your information. They take all your information. Yeah, they definitely harvest all your information.
And so how is that being private?
Because they're not selling it to third parties. They don't sell your...
But they still get hacked.
Right, but I'm not selling your information without your consent or whatever. Just third
but
parties
they've
constantly.
stockpiled your information someplace.
Yeah,
and they're using that to target market you.
No. It's not for target marketing because they have to sell to other marketing agencies to get that done. The thing with Apple is that they take your information, whether it's a great idea or not. I'm just saying this is what it's done, all right? Because they've had suits in the past about this stuff. They're the only companies that I know of that anyone's ever reported on that's actually made an effort for privacy. Where, they harvest a lot. Harvest just sounds so... I don't know, cyborg. They collect your data that you're using on an iPhone, on their apps, their products, and that goes into a database about you so that they can better make a product and services that match you through Apple. It's not like they're selling your data to Google, they're selling it to Amazon.
So when you're in the iTunes store,
iTunes store does not exist.
Well, where do you buy products on Apple then?
You go to their website, you go to their music app, you go...
The music app, which is iTunes.
iTunes does not exist.
What are you talking about?
iTunes does not exist anymore.
Oh, wow.
The whole iTunes was this marketplace of all this stuff at one point. Now it's just a music. It's
okay,
Apple
so
Music.
The Apple website where you purchase stuff,
right?
There's ads on it, and they also put recommendations.
There are not ads on the Apple website.
Last time I went to it,
you go to the Apple website right now. Do it. There are not ads on the Apple website.
So where do I just type...
Type apple.com.
Which, this laptop has never typed apple.com before. So I
don't really... Just press enter for crying out loud, man.
So this is dangerous because I personally believe Apple is full of viruses. Not malicious viruses from outside, but Apple in and of itself is a virus. Look at this. This is all an ad for their latest iOS.
You are going so overboard about that. You're like, oh, they're advertising their own products. You were talking about recommendations, advertisements for all these other sites. Yeah, this is what everyone gets. It's the Apple website. You don't do anything on the Apple website except buy products. They just had the Worldwide Developer Conference today.
Here's a bunch of Apple watches.
Because those are brand new. Those were just announced today. They were showing you everything that was announced. If you go all the way to the bottom, you see where it says preview, all this kind of stuff. It's going to show you all the stuff that was announced today. You don't have to watch the whole 3-hour thing. Just go to their website. You don't go to the website unless you buy something. There is really no other reason to go to the Apple website except to research or buy something on a product.
First thing here, buy songs.
Yeah, because it's Apple Music. What are you going on about?
All I'm saying is
they're not doing anything in the sense of they're tracking you and they're putting Ashley Madison or some other buy this singles in your area, hot singles in the area, and then you look around and you're the only one.
But you're under the context that Apple doesn't use the data other than to make their products better. I'm telling you, within the Apple nomenclature, they use your data to target market stuff that they sell that's Apple labeled.
Here's the thing. They don't have to, because there's almost 2 billion people in the world using iPhones. They don't need you to actually do anything. They take all your info. Great. They compile that to help you and your products and everything as best they can. Great. I am for that. I want a company. If I buy your product and you knowingly are saying, hey, we do this to help make your iPhone work better, for Siri to function better for you, but we don't sell your data to anyone. We keep it, yeah, but we do it to help make that
you're
iPhone.
Saying you refuse to go off the grid.
I think it's too late. I don't. I
can still go to a store and buy a CD.
Hush. Look, I'm being. Just let me get my point. Let me get my point across. I don't think you can be off grid and function in society like a normal human being. You cannot function as a normal, participating in everything, have a current job today, and all this kind of stuff without a smartphone.
I am going to.
Because I'll tell you right now,
put an asterisk on what you're saying.
In the United States.
Okay, thank you. Because I'm
not talking about Timbuktu in Africa, okay? We're talking about...
You don't even know where Timbuktu is, do you?
It's in Eastern Africa.
Yes, so this would be in the Western world, first world countries.
We're just going to assume you already know we're talking about America. In Canada, too, kind of, but... Anyways.
Is Canada first
Canada's
world?
America Junior. They just, they get away with everything, even though at some point they're going to fail in life. That's just the way it is. But the thing is, for Best Buy.
He can say that because he lived in Canada.
Yes, I can. I have the Best Buy app. I have to have a smartphone to have this app to check my schedule, to scan products while I'm at work, to check availability on things. I have to use the Best Buy app. You can't have that unless you have a smartphone.
Or a tablet.
Nope. It is smartphone.
Because I have a Best Buy app on my tablet.
It is not the employee app.
Oh.
I said the Best Buy employee app.
Okay, I'm sorry. I missed the word.
Well, then pay attention when I'm speaking, man.
I can't understand you because you're speaking Zoomer.
Well, whatever. But my thing is, you cannot go off the grid and still function the way you want to function in society.
So Best Buy makes you put an employee app on your personal phone?
Yeah, well, no, of course. They're not going to say, well, you have to do this. But you're going to show up late to work, you're going to get fired really quick. Because they're supposed to tell you within 24 hours that they're changing your schedule. Do they do that? No. They just update the app. So I have to check this app 3 times a day at least to see if my schedule is constant. And I can just look at my Google Maps with my girl, or Google Calendar with the girl child, and my work dates never coincide with really what I'm doing because they're constantly shifting and changing up until
24 hours before.
No, not even that. Basically a couple hours before the next day starts. They can change stuff up to 11 p.m. before the day. So you have to have the app. Mm-hmm. To actually do this job. Otherwise, unless you're full-time. If you're full-time, you probably have a better chance of doing it. But
so you're saying there's a possibility?
Yeah, there's a possibility.
Because when when I've been to Best Buy and I've done stuff, like look at products and ask an employee to help me, they don't always use a phone. They often walk over to a computer.
Yeah, well, that's because where they're at.
In.
So if you're going to phones or you're going into certain areas, yeah, you can just look up stuff on there. But like for appliances, where I'm at, I am halfway across the store. We have the biggest department in the entire store. So I have to go all the way across the store, and they're like, hey, is this thing available? We have to use our phones to see if this thing's available. Because that customer, if you walk to your computer and come back, they're not going to be there.
Why can't you jump on the computer that's right next to you? They have
There is not one.
Store.
No, there's none over there that we can get on. You only see part of it. So a lot of the computers that are there are POSs. So those are point of sales, right? They're point of sale units. They can't access the internet, or most of them cannot. There's a couple of them that somehow you can kind of get around it. You can check some really basic things on there, but it's really difficult and super slow just to check a simple thing. So you have to go to an actual computer that is not a POS, and half the time those are cluttered. The moment you have employee or you have a bunch of people that are asking you questions, you need to go to a computer. That's when you can't use one. But back to my main point outside of Best Buy is...
So you're saying Best Buy can't do adequate customer service without the employees using their
I am
phone.
not saying anything about Best Buy that negative light. I'm just saying that it's just one of those things where you kind of need a smartphone because they're a tech place, they're an appliance place, all this kind of stuff. You need to have a smartphone.
I'm just saying to do your best job serving the customer so that you don't take, in what modern parlance would be, an extraordinarily long time walking over to a computer to search something once a computer is available. You need your smartphone with you to look up things quickly because that's the pace people live at.
Yeah, it's people come in expecting to get like one of our most. We have a like $5,000 Samsung fridge. It's a really cool fridge. If I had the money, yeah, maybe I get it. I don't know. It's basically a smart home tablet built into the door of the fridge. But people are coming expecting to walk out with one of those. And if you can't answer their version of basic questions about this fridge, when we have 50 other fridges where we're all supposed to understand, they will walk out.
So compare this to the pre-internet era. I walk into Sears and I want to buy a refrigerator.
When we were kids, you'd go in, we'd do refrigerator, we'd do Craftsman, whatever it was, and we would wait ungodly amounts of time for stuff. And I was bored out of my mind. But I remember we would wait by a dryer until someone could come back with all the information. Or we'd follow them somewhere. We didn't, he walked away. It's been a solid 35 seconds. I'm going to walk away and then write a bad review on it.
Right. You're a little kid. 5 minutes to you seems like an hour.
Yes, but I can still say we waited a significantly longer amount of time then than people wait now. But this is all what I'm saying is that the society we live in now, you can't do a whole bunch of stuff. It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. How you can function
smaller.
Just let me finish my point. You're going at me with this stuff like smaller. What does that mean?
Right. What does that mean?
Because you're not letting me finish. You're cutting me off when I'm talking about stuff. So just give me.
I'm trying
to. I get that. I mean, just look. Everything that we're doing. The limit of. Okay, here's a circle, right?
The limit of.
I'm starting over.
The limit of
here's
what?
A circle. Okay, the amount of people and the amount of things you can do without having some kind of stupid smartphone, having instant communication and computers and all this stuff in your home and in your life constantly is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Right? There's some places you can't get paper applications. You have to use a computer. You have to have a LinkedIn. You have to have a Google account. You have to have a Facebook to get this, to sign into that. And you have to have all these different kind of things constantly. So to really live off grid, you've got to buy a house in the middle of nowhere with no internet, no electricity, no nothing. And
no electricity?
Well, the power company's going to know what you're doing. Look, it's hyperbole. All right, you get that. It's a hyperbus, whatever you call it. That's what it is. The society we're getting in is getting so much more difficult to get away from the phone. So the question is, should you keep trying to fight it, even though we're walking around with a computer in our pocket that gives our information out constantly to some company or the government or whatever? And governments too now. Like I think the Trump administration just made it so. Before anyone gets accepted for visa applications, all their social media has to be checked. You have to turn over your passwords and things like that. I might remember that wrong, but I know they have to check over your social media, which I think is a great idea. Other people hate it. But even at that point, they're going to do huge background checks, and there's going to be a bunch of stuff looked up on you about it. And it's just, should you keep fighting it, or do you just give in and be like, great, okay, I understand it. It's what we talked about last week or the week before that about, great, you're going to show me an ad on Amazon for a watch I bought 5 years ago that they don't make anymore, and they don't make that there's no reason for you to advertise this thing to me. Am I going to get upset about that, or am I just going to, whatever. It is what it is. This is a cool product. I'm going to go for it. Do we give up and just go with it? Like, just accept it? All right, cool. I got a bunch of smart home products. Be practical. So don't get like a smart home lock on your front door. I think that's stupid. Because if the internet goes out, the power goes out, you can't get in your house. But outside of that, is it worth it to fight?
I will concede the fact that there are some things in modern life that have to have the internet to function. And the primary thing that I believe you have to have is, I do not know any place that takes paper applications for jobs anymore.
Right.
So like everybody goes to Indeed.com, or
you have to go to the website
and go to their website and blah blah blah. The only time we being the organization I work for, paper applications is for seasonal employees.
Right.
But even then it gets scanned and emailed into a server for the human resources department to look at. So even though people are filling out paper applications, it's still utilizing the internet, because the mail, we have to hire people as quickly as possible, and right. Snail mail is too slow.
Yeah. And it's just this point where every phone you have, like even flip phones now, those aren't off the grid phones. You know why? Because they're running Android. Yeah, all of them, they're being sold at Best Buy. All of them being sold at Virgin Mobile, which I use. Unless you're using the old person.
Nokia's don't run on Android.
They don't have flip phones anymore.
Nokia does too.
No, they don't. They just have they have Androids, and then they have.
Must be a Chinese knockoff then.
What are you talking about?
But
Nokia has that one brick phone that has their own software, but every other Nokia phone runs Android. All their smartphones run Android. But the majority of flip phones now all run a really low level version of Android. Sorry, belching again. I know it happens every time. But yeah, so what they're doing with a lot of these is that they have Android, and it actually is a touchscreen on the flip thing. It's really tiny. I don't know what the heck you use it for, but you can sync your Google Map or Google. I always say Google Maps. Your Google Calendar. You can sync your calendar with the flip phones and stuff. You can go to VirginMobile.com and just look up their flip phone they have. It's called.
So this thing here, the Nokia 3310, is running Android.
No, that's what I was saying. Is that all their phone? They don't have a flip phone, but that's their one specific phone that's made specifically for what they have. Right, because they want that off the grid, whatever. It has 4G LTE, which it's already giving off a whole crap load of information.
They call it a play for nostalgia.
Well, yeah, and they're super cheap. I can buy one at Best Buy for $40, which I've thought about, but I couldn't use it.
Here it says Best Buy $49.99.
Well, I don't know. It was like $39.99.
It has epic battery life.
Yeah. But you can look up like flip phones now, almost all of them, unless you're buying them from, what's that old old person. It's like 1 star or something.
Old person?
No, it's the only phones they make have like, they're a flip phone with all the numbers, but they're gigantic.
Oh, yeah, for the elderly.
Jitterbugs. Yeah, those things. Those are like the only ones left that don't have Android and all this stuff on it, because they're phasing out 3G towers now. So everything has to be the 4G LTE. And you
3G is not a tower; it's an antenna.
Whatever. It's a tower on the symbol on my phone. They're getting rid of that kind of stuff. So even the most basic phone you're going to get is harvesting data from you. You have to have a computer at your house, which, again, if it's got a camera on it, dude, it's just taking information from you. This is the way everything's going. And I don't know if that's something worth giving into or just, trying to fight it.
Well, eventually, we're all going to be interconnected with technology somehow. I mean, we're doing it right now on this podcast, right? We have no idea how many people are actually listening to our podcast. It's probably less than 1 million.
Most likely, yeah.
And probably no one in China is listening to us. But the concept here is that we're using technology and the internet, something that our little setup here in the basement 50 years ago would probably cost us thousands of dollars. We've been able to cobble together over a period of weeks for far less than thousands of dollars.
Right.
Still kind of expensive in a kidney and a lung, but
you didn't need them. Yeah.
But the reality is we're using technology to connect with people, and that is where the future's going.
Mm-hmm.
The more communication between people, the better. That keeps governments honest. Because excuse me, what's the first thing a communist government tries to do is cut communication between its people so that they can't coordinate attacks against the government.
Right.
So the more we can communicate as humans and as people and share knowledge, the better. So I think that's a better future for us all. But I do think that people are letting technology take over their lives. And I'm probably never going to have a Nest. And obviously Mom's totally against the Google Home stuff or the talking tubes from Alexa or whoever else is coming up with one. Which I played with my Amazon tablet in that mode for a while. It's fun for about 10 minutes and then it's a waste of time to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
Yeah,
but I do think your premise isn't all incorrect, that we're getting to a point in time where you can't get off the grid entirely.
In a sense that all the listeners will understand by what we mean. Obviously, we know what you're talking about. You can skip it off into the middle of the ocean. You can go in the middle of Africa. There's not going to be internet. No one's going to track you besides American war drones stalking you. We know that
the Reaper is there.
We're going to kill you. But we know, we both know that's a thing. But we're talking about our first world nations where the internet is very prevalent, that there is no escaping it. But the question is, when will it be that too late moment? Is it worth fighting to try and make it go away? Or push it back further and further and further so it's years down the line before we're totally integrated with technology in our lives? Or is it just something where, you know what? Is it really that bad? I mean, what are they going to get? I mean, honestly, what are they going to get from me? Google and Facebook. That's going to be so valuable that it's worth defending at this point. I know the principle of the matter is it's my privacy, but there's nothing I can do. These are multi-billion, if not trillion-dollar companies at this point. I am insignificant. I mean nothing. My purpose is to just live life.
You mean more than that. I mean, you can look up to see what you're worth to these companies.
Yeah.
Like last time I looked at it, you're worth $35 to Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Like your data is worth something.
Yeah. And, I personally think we should be selling data. Like, you know what? Facebook, you want my data? come talk to me. I'll sell it to you. You can buy it straight from me. I will write you a diary daily.
If you're using their product and you're not paying for it, you are the product. You're selling yourself.
Yeah, you're the wetware. Which is that other question of, would you rather pay like a monthly fee for Facebook to have total privacy?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be willing to do that kind of stuff. I mean, would I still keep using Facebook? I don't know. Maybe. If I could get Messenger, for, it's, you don't have to have Facebook, but you can have a Facebook Messenger, and it's only like $2 a month. Heck yeah, I'd do that. A heartbeat. I wouldn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't even bother me.
I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Whether I only use Facebook really to keep in touch with the family.
Yeah, because no one wants to do group text.
Group text?
Yeah, no one does group. Everyone hates group text.
But they'll do group messages.
Yeah, because I don't know. It's easier. It's quicker and it's easier.
Well, and it functions better across platforms.
Yeah.
Because if you have an Android phone and you're doing the group text through an Apple phone, it jacks it all up. And
yeah, that's why so many people like the iMessage on Apple, is because you can just message everyone that else has an iPhone. It goes through the internet, doesn't go over your cell towers or whatever, antennas. And it's super fast. You can do fun little things like you do in Facebook Messenger, except, it's all on Apple.
Yeah.
So.
Which is a problem.
I don't think so. I'm for it.
Well, with that, we want to thank you for listening.
Thanks for showing up.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us today. We want to thank everybody who's helping us with our podcasts out there. We subscribe to the Value for Value model for funding the podcast. And if you found value in what we're doing, then we appreciate you sending some of that value back to us in support. You can do that through the website, which is bloodpumpmedia.com. We'll have a PayPal account up here not too long. You can also cross the stream of consciousness with ours by emailing us at manchild@post.com or oldguy@post.com. And we want our listeners to interact with each other on Facebook, and eventually on Gab we'll have some things up there. As we're at episode 8, right? By
Something
episode
like
10, I'm hoping to have all of this done.
Squared away.
Yeah. We're building this up a little bit week by week.
We are making a media empire.
Yes.
Please be a part of it. Give us your money, and we'll make something great. You'll have a say in it, because you are not just a listener, you are a producer.
Yeah. And we've come up with this concept that we want you to tell people about the Twinkie. And the Twinkie is the podcast. And we're big Ghostbuster fans here. And so we want you to tell people about the Twinkie and explain to them why you listen to the podcast and why you think it would be entertaining for them.
What about the Twinkie?
That's right. So ask people, what about the Twinkie? And then you can
tell them about the Twinkie.
Tell them about the Twinkie. So having some fun with the stuff here. But
that's one big Twinkie.
That is one big Twinkie. But also, we want you to cross your stream of consciousness with ours by emailing us and giving us suggestions and helping us improve the podcast.
If you like to hear, and if you like what you hear, what, that was so confusing. I'm trying to read the last sentence and you're jumping around. I'm sorry. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to get in here. It's not just me speaking. If you like what you hear and you are finding value and entertainment in what we are doing, then by all means tell others about the Twinkie, which is our formula.
That's right.
Thank you for giving me a say in what we do. And also, when you start that, don't say that. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for listening so far, guys, because it totally sounds like the show's over when you do that.
Does it?
Yeah, and you're like, well, thanks for listening, guys, in the middle of a conversation. You're like, what's going on there?
Yeah, well, okay, I'll stop.
So far.
All right, thank you. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, guys. We really appreciate it.
We're getting better at this all the time.
Hey, we're almost at 10 weeks doing this.
Yeah.
So a baby's in like the second trimester. How many trimesters are there? 3. It's trimesters, 3.
Thank you.
So what is it? 10 weeks and the baby's in the second, right? What is it? You've had 4 kids. What is it like?
it's 9 months. 36 weeks.
Okay, cool. So
about 10 weeks, probably 12 weeks is the first trimester.
So we're getting pretty close to the second trimester here.
Yeah.
We've
Eventually
already heard the heartbeat, so we're good there, guys. The show's staying for the long haul.
There you go.
Because we're in Iowa.
Wow.
Sorry, we're not in Alabama. So, anyways, we could have.
I don't know.
This
He's
podcast
getting a
way
little
earlier
punch.
on.
He's getting a little punch.
I am
drunk.
so stressed. I missed my first stats class today. This morning I missed it because I was under the impression my stats class was June 5th, not June 3rd. So by the time it was 10:30 when I checked all my emails and everything, and I was looking at it, I was like, wait a minute, what does this mean? My class is this morning. Shoot. And I looked at my clock. It's 10:30. It takes me 20 minutes to get out to Bettendorf. By the time I get out there, class would have been over. So now I've got to struggle with this whole... I have class tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and it goes
And
to
you don't
10.
even have a syllabus yet.
No, I don't. I don't have anything because all my stuff doesn't show up until tomorrow. In class, gosh, I don't know. I'm screwed over at that point. And also for this class, D's do not get a degree in this class.
Oh, you have to get a C?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
So that's where I was a little... There were guys like, everyone at Bible study and I was like, oh no, I'll be fine, Caleb. You're past this. Don't worry about it. I'm like, I'm going to need a lot more than 1.7%. It could be like 21.1 gigawatt percent. 1.1 gigawatt.
I think you'll be fine.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
You've already been through the class once, so you can't get any worse.
You know what? What was the story we had? So I don't have to cry a little bit more inside.
No more weeping on the podcast. Well, we have a couple of "Don't Be That Guy" stories this week.
Is that a guy or a chick?
It's a chick.
Okay.
This is from Texas.
Remember, guys, gender
Houston.
does not exist.
Houston school bus driver charged with DUI blames it on a bad donut.
She looks like a bad donut.
Yeah, she is. She's had a hard life. The school bus driver had, let's see, I think she had 30 kids on a bus. She's 55 years old. She's swerving in and out, and the police pull her over. And they gave her a field sobriety test, which she flunked miserably, and she was immediately placed in custody. And bystanders had seen her bus driving erratically, so they called 911, and that's why they pulled her over. But the funny thing is, she's hitting a wall, like one of those concrete partitions on the roads.
Jersey barrier?
Yeah, she's hitting those, and she almost flipped the bus over with all these kids on it.
That's a Twinkie.
Yeah, she's going through with the sheriff, and she's obviously intoxicated. Her excuse for all this was, my stomach was hurting so bad that a wheel fell off the bus on the curb, and that's why I was going 45 miles an hour and had to whip the bus back and almost flipped it.
Did it lose a wheel, or is that just the donut she thought was bad?
So that's the thing. She ate this quote-unquote bad donut. And
it was liquor flavored. And
that caused her to have a stomach ache so badly that she almost wrecked a bus with 30 kids on it. Now, so if you're going to be a bus driver, don't eat bad donuts.
Oh, well, I'll make duly note of that when I become a bus driver for failing stats.
There you go.
What's our next story? Kansas police asking people to please not shoot their guns at tornadoes?
Yes. This is another don't be that guy. And so Kansas... I just can't believe people are doing this.
There's a tweet from the Lawrence Police Department in Kansas, and it just says, please don't shoot at tornadoes.
Yes. So because people are defending their homes by standing out in front of their houses while a tornado's coming, and they're shooting at tornadoes. It's really crazy. There's a few tips here for you to understand. And the first tip is the tornado will hurl a brick or a tractor or a jagged piece of telephone pole at you. Don't shoot at it.
You'll die.
You'll die is the next tip. Stay away from... The tornado will pick up your gun.
The tornado will start firing your gun at everything it passes.
And your county is now under attack by both a tornado and an active shooter if the tornado picks your gun up.
Boy. Is that part of the castle doctrine? Are you covered if he takes your gun?
Yeah, I don't know. They're thinking that firing a gun at a funnel cloud or something is going to disrupt the wind moving up there.
I'd do it.
So people think that they could do this. And
you give me a shotgun and a good chance of not getting sucked up in a tornado. Yeah, I'll just start firing at it.
It is,
wouldn't you? Dude, come on. If you knew you'd be totally safe. I mean, like, from the bullets flying at you or you getting sucked up in a tornado, something hitting you, you don't know. But if you just use unlimited round shotguns and, rounds, I'd go for it. I'd just keep going, shooting at it until the tornado dies, it keels over, and gives its life to Jesus.
I don't think tornadoes have souls. That's why they kill everything.
That's soulless of you.
Yeah, very much so. So I would be totally afraid that the bullets would still go through the tornado and come out on the other side and maybe possibly hit somebody and kill them.
Oh, no. Life is too cruel for that. It's more ironic than anything. If they're going to go in the tornado, and it's going to be like a slow motion, whoop, and it's going to fly right back and then go right between your eyes.
You really don't understand velocity, do you?
I understand enough things in life.
Oh, goodness sakes. So our last Don't Be That Guy is out of Nebraska, my home state, and the Manchild's home state.
Go Big Red,
That's
but
right.
Not in this case.
No. So there's a Nebraska man that was sentenced for marrying and having sex with his daughter. So he's going to spend 2 years in prison for having sex with his biological daughter. He's 40, she's 21. They were estranged. He fathered her. They were estranged, and then she was searching him out, and they got back together, and they decided to start having sex. But the crazy part of this is this sexual liaison between the dad and his daughter actually resulted from a jealous competition between her and her half-sister regarding who could have sex with the dad.
This is not a good example of Nebraska. I'll just say that. You know what? Are these people from Nebraska? I got a feeling they're from Council Bluffs.
Whoa. Okay,
they're probably from there. They might have wandered over from Colorado. Heck, who knows? They might just be from Sioux City. The dad in these photos for the cop place, whatever, what is this, Fox News? The dad looks a little, yeah, that's right, guys, I did that.
Well, his defense...
Oh, I didn't know.
Well, he did know, but he said, he added that he's had a brain injury and he isn't a high-functioning person.
I'm sure he's
which is why I grabbed the story for today, because I'm like, no duh, you're not a high-functioning person.
No, and how do you do that? I just, gosh, I don't know how people get in that kind of a situation in their life that's that screwed up, where they're like, yeah, you know what, my life is so bad, let me make a decision that, you know what, I have nothing better going for me. Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't understand people who have incest as it is, and this is very, very dumb. So don't be that guy. Thank you for belching once again, and making sure that every podcast has one of your belches in it.
Hey, you know what? I am trying. I gotta leave my mark on society. Do an experiment here. I gotta see as I get older, by the weeks. Because I age much faster than other people. I'm actually 42 right now. I'm catching up on you, Dad. My belches change. So we're doing an experiment here. Me and my clones. It's a different me every week. If you didn't know that, I die. Oh. Every week I die. It's a new clone. I have to catch myself up on what happened the week before to my new youth of my clone.
Darth Sidious.
Fat boy inside
So this one,
an ambulance.
Yeah, this is an interesting article because when I looked at it, I thought about Jabba the Hutt.
Oh, he looks like it.
Instantly. And so I thought this was interesting, and I wanted to kind of get your opinion on it. So the county courthouse outside Cincinnati, it's not exactly a typical thing they do, but there's a young man who was being convicted or tried as being a drug dealer who is 600 pounds. And so they stuck him in an ambulance and backed the ambulance up to the courthouse, and they had court on the loading dock because there's nothing else they could do with this guy. They could not get him in the courtroom. He had a blood oxygen monitor on while they were talking to him, and he pleaded guilty to cocaine trafficking and being a felon in possession of a gun. And he ended up with a 2-year prison sentence. They kept trying to get him to say things like, do you want to say anything in your defense? And he could only get like 2 words out without succumbing to...
His legs look like chicken legs. I mean, like the KFC chicken legs, his gut is that big that his legs, I don't even think they're attached to his femur. I mean, his femurs are not attached to his pelvis.
No, it's his belly that's covered up.
Yeah, but I think his legs are they're just detached. They're off to the side.
I'm sure
this dude is from Wall-E. He is what happens in Wall-E when we just eat ourselves in smoothie cups, sit in chairs all day with robots.
Well,
right? His legs don't work. They are just they're a giant skin tag with toenails. That's what they are.
Giant skin tag. Well, he's a big dude, 600 pounds. That's a lot. But what is the guy doing with a gun? And how is he dealing drugs when he can't move? They got to get him to court in an ambulance. So
he's got to have he's got to have something underneath those folds that people want to do things for him. Look, what does he have that's what Antonio down the street, the Italian drug dealer, doesn't have? I'll tell you what, he doesn't have an extra 520 pounds on him. That's what Antonio doesn't have. Something about this big old boy here. He's got something a lot of people want. I don't know what it is. Maybe he makes crystal meth too. Maybe he makes it like a special way. He just rubs a little bit of his flubber grease on it.
This is what I don't understand is he's a felon with a gun. He's dealing cocaine. How? He can't move. I don't understand.
I don't know. Maybe he started the Empire when he was younger and more fit, and then as he got older and fatter, he just let it go automatic.
The one sad thing about this is this story is a metaphor for our country. That we...
Okay. It's a metaphor for a country that a fat black man dealing drugs with a gun and a felony in the back of an ambulance backed up to the back of a courthouse to have court done out there and he can't breathe.
Yeah.
That is a metaphor for the United States of America. God bless every one of you. Please explain that.
Because we're all fat and
Speak for
lazy.
Speak for yourself.
Wow.
Man, you call me fat and lazy.
I didn't call you. I said all of us.
All of us. That includes me. Am I not all of us? Both of us in the room, but all of us in the nation.
You said you're a clone.
I'm a clone, yeah. So, I can't get fat because I'll just die by the end of the week.
That is true.
So, yeah. I don't appreciate the obeseness.
I should say all of us. Certain segments of our society.
There you go.
This is very much a picture representation of that.
Anyone within a mile radius of KFC.
Or McDonald's. Who knows?
McDonald's has healthy choices.
Yes, it does. Now, the next story that I want to talk to you about, I talked to your mom about this, and she reminded me that we are never retiring to Florida. But this is Florida, where a lot of things are happening with wild animals, and a man lifted his toilet seat in his bathroom last Sunday, and a 4-foot python rose out of the toilet and bit him on the arm, and the dude freaked out. And I would freak out.
There are so many, like, innuendos. The dude went to the toilet, the pee, right? So there's already one innuendo of a thing, you know, if I'm talking about an appendage. And then a python popped out. There's number 2. And then bit his arm. You know, that's my third arm, is what it's called. So there are 3 innuendos right there of a python biting an arm, peeing in a toilet.
Non-sequiturs withstanding, this would be a really freaky situation. Now, he's lucky it's a python.
Because they're non-venomous, right?
Right, they're constrictors, but they do have big fangs to pull the prey into their mouths. And so, they're, like most snakes, their fangs are kind of nasty. I mean, they don't brush their teeth.
No, really?
And,
But they don't have an animal veterinarian that's a dentist?
Yeah, they go around in the wild and...
Gee, Dad, I didn't know that.
Floss their fangs.
Wow.
So even though this is a non-venomous snake because it bit him in the arm, it would have left some pretty hefty puncture marks that would have got...
What's the diameter of one of those? Like, from not the little bit, but I mean, like, when it gets all the way in there, like, it's, you know, the top.
I bet it's close to...
Like half an inch?
No, I don't think...
No, I mean, like, quarter inch.
Probably a quarter inch. But it biting him like that would have left a lot of, like, nastiness and made his arm go septic pretty fast. Suck it out! No, that's an old wives' tale. You don't suck the venom out of a snake. A snake bite, I should say.
Ooh, outie.
Now, this goes with your Zoomer rant today about can we be totally disconnected? And this is a story that caught my eye because our cars are becoming smarter, which I don't always trust.
No. Nope.
And this is the new 2018 Audi Q8, and it's an SUV, and it has software inside of it that communicates with the city's networks that runs the traffic signals, and this car will adjust how you're driving it in order to avoid red lights.
Interesting.
So, it also is going to tell you when the light's about to change, which we all kind of...
I mean, look, right now it seems really freaky, but later on, when every car's got that and you don't... Like, if I'm still driving my 07 Honda Fit, and it's 2030, which if it makes it, God bless that machine for making it that far. But if everyone's got a Tesla or whatever and it's doing this kind of stuff, well, I'm going to be like, oh, gee, I wish I had the feature because, you know what? I'm sure that would really come in handy. I know and that's the dilemma with all of this. Not to go on a rabbit trail off the news story, but that, which I think is what we're supposed to be doing, is like, yeah. It's not... I'm stuck between this where, you know, I don't want to give up my privacy. I don't want to lose all this stuff that's mine, but at the same time, there's functionality and stuff in life that, whether it makes it easier or just makes it safer, that I want. If I can get a vehicle that is going to brake for me before I hit something, yeah. I know I want a car like my old 93 Ranger where it's bare bones.
But this isn't about safety.
Right, but this is about getting around quicker.
Yeah, commuter.
But it's communicating with the city. Great. Well, you know, at some point, you're never going to lose a car. You know, I'm sure if that car gets stolen...
Yeah, your car is going to have an IP address.
Yeah. Basically.
And the city's...
Here's my prediction, because Apple's already in talks to buy Tesla. My prediction is
hold on, before you go on there. My thought is, if you have an IP address and it's timing you through stoplights, this is a way in the future they're going to start giving you tickets.
Oh, I thought you were going to say ads. Like, since it knows exactly how long a red light's going to be, it can play an ad on the radio.
Well, I hadn't thought about that, but it's totally logical. But these are kind of technologies where they're tracking you driving through the city streets, regardless of whether you want them to or not. And this is the kind of stuff where they're going to start issuing tickets.
But yeah, but I think I know we'll say that in our post-apocalyptic version of the world, we'll say that like, oh, they're gonna start issuing tickets, but then we're all gonna pass the law that's gonna be like, no, you can't, and then sure they'll track you, but they can't do anything against you. They'll say, hey, don't do that, mister. But they can't arrest you. They can't give you a ticket.
If your car's eventually synced into a system, they'll just LoJack you and shut your engine off.
Yeah, but I'm sure at some point they're gonna make that illegal. You really think the amount of people that drive daily would really want that? I'm going to say no. And it's going to get passed or it's just going to be outlawed.
Do you think people want tollways on top of all of the taxes we pay and fuel costs?
Well, I mean, you got to vote the right dude then. You keep voting these Democrats into places, well, whoop-de-doo. Never going to change.
It doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. They're all about taking money out of your back pocket.
Hey, man, if I ran for mayor and I was only there for one term, you know, so be it. If I make the city better, but I never get reelected. I'd rather have that happen. I'm going to go back to what I was saying about the future. Yeah. My future for the cars is that my iPhone right here, which is another topic I want to talk about later, this will be your computer, this will be your car, this will be everything. I will just get in my car, and while I'm in my car, the OS will go whoop. It will just transfer to the car.
That's already happening.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's nothing in the car. Like, it's just a blank slate. No one owns a car. It's just, you have a phone, and you get next to the car unlocks, you get in. Once you get in, you set your phone down, like, in the center console, and the car absorbs all the information from your phone, and it is literally just an extension of your phone on four wheels. You know, so if people think now that your phone's just like an extension of who you are as a person, then I think years in the future it's going to be even farther beyond that. But that's neither here nor there, because I'll probably be dead by then, hopefully.
Yeah. This is
Are these the cleaning robots?
Well, they're all types of robots.
I love cleaning robots. They're so cute.
Yeah, I mean, these robots are starting to show up in Walmarts and different types of stores. Not only do they clean, but they also, Walmart's using robots that are like 6 feet tall that have scanners in them, and they send them up and down the aisles, and it scans what's on the shelves so that the employees know exactly what to bring out to that aisle. So this is kind of an interesting surge in technology that's coming. Mm-hmm. They always caveat this by saying the robots aren't taking anybody's job, but they're just helping employees work more efficiently, but I think that's a cop-out.
I don't know. You know, I think there's definitely, like, there's things that might work now that that are so dumb that why do we even have someone doing that? If we really put the money into it, we could have a robot doing this. You know, it's kind of a weird thing to say. You'd have a robot doing this, and then that person that you need to do like a very complicated task, a robot that can't do, have them go do that. You know, like we have this whole system. I mean, other places I've worked too have this whole system where you have to call customers, or you got to call people constantly. Google, what is it called? Google Fi or something like that. They made it so it's basically this AI that's very complex, to the point where it sounds very human. It will call a restaurant for you. It will make reservations. It sounds like a perfectly normal human being. People on the other end of the line have no idea what it is, and it just gets the information, says what it needs to say, and then it hangs up. And it's very, courteous and nice. If we were to do that for all those places that just have to make phone calls to customers saying, hey, your delivery's coming tomorrow. Does that sound okay? You need to change it? All right, let me direct you to somebody that can help you. Then you put it off to somebody. Outside of that, you're saving so much money and time that you could have that one person that's doing that one job go do something else that's a lot more intensive that a human has to do. So I can see it in that point if that's true. On the other hand, I can also see Walmart and them just, we're going to make another $1 billion this year, guys.
Yeah, you just never know.
But I love cleaning robots. The girl child and I want to get one as a baby.
Like a Roomba or something?
Yeah, there's one at work called Sammy, He's a Samsung. He's the highest end Samsung thing they have. They've had him for years. I'm the only one that like uses him. But yeah, he just goes around and cleans some stuff. I always follow him around because he'll get lost. But it's like whatever it is. It's just a cute little robot that's got sensors, so it tries not to fall off things, and it just kind of goes around. It really is just like a cute, fun thing. I want one.
Your sister,
She's got a Roomba.
Her and her fiance have a Roomba, and she hates the thing because it's constantly getting stuck. And then when it gets stuck, they can't find it. And they've got to look all over the house, underneath beds and underneath the couches and all of that. And it's supposed to be smarter than this.
Well, the thing with Roomba is that they're designed more to bump into things. That's the big difference, is Roombas bump into things. Like, they have all these bumpers on them. Dude,
right.
Their whole thing is to bump in and map your house, which they got sued about. So now on all the products at Best Buy, they say, oh, we map your house now, too, as an extra feature. No, you got to say that because you just got sued for $2 million.
Yeah.
That's why they get stuck all the time. I always say Samsung, there's Shark makes one, there's another brand that's a little cheaper. I never go with the iRobot Roomba things because what they'll do is they'll just bump, and then they'll actually wedge themselves in the corner of the wall. I've seen it in product demos for them. I don't know how the heck they do it, but they just come at the right angle, and they just go, and they're just pressing against the wall, and then they turn sharply, and it's just like the rubber on the front end. They're like, it's like stuck. And it just like stays there.
Yeah.
And turns off.
It does that classic, goes back and forth, and just never goes anywhere. Like it just went insane.
Yeah. So don't do the Roombas, but the Samsung. Gosh, I just want to make a cartoon for it. It really, the way it's designed, it looks sophisticated. Yeah, I do it's a heart emoji, but the girl child and I love Sammy. I send her videos of me taking Sammy's for walks around Best Buy all the time, having a good time.
You're a Fruit Loop.
Thank you.
So, there's a story, I can't get it to come up right now real quick, but California is getting ready to pass legislation that would require Catholic priests to report child molestation confessions. Now, the Catholic Church, pretty much nationwide, anything said in confession is private and is between you and the priest. That's not true for evangelical churches, but only Catholic. So this is a big step for a state to make that kind of law, going against what's been a cultural norm for generations.
Thousands of years?
Not
hundreds.
Our country's not thousands of years old.
But Catholic priests, this whole idea with them has been a cultural thing for a very long time.
Yes, it has, but for a country, though, that's always been privileged information when you confess something to your priest.
Right.
I just watched The Godfather.
Yep, that's a great example of understanding the Catholic Church, Dad.
What?
The Godfather.
The third.
We are cultured Americans here.
The third Godfather, what's his buckets? Al Pacino. He confesses to the priest, and the
in
priest,
movie.
In a movie, but it's an example of what goes on, and I'm. What are you laughing?
The movie is an example of what goes on. I'm a French model, bonjour. You just.
What are you?
I'm just doing what you do. I'm just saying that, you're like, well, this is the Catholic Church, and I saw this in a movie once, so this is the way that it is.
What I'm saying is, I'm sure Al Pacino's character confessed a whole lot of stuff to that priest.
Right.
And the priest didn't tell the authorities because it's confidential. So how do you feel about that with child molestation admissions?
Well, there's the thing. So when I was a camp counselor, kids would tell you a whole lot of things, and you tell them, hey, I'm not going to tell anybody, you can tell me. Well, what do you do when the kid says they're going to kill themselves? You tell somebody.
Yeah.
So as soon as you have a kid say something like, hey, Father John Finnegan McCulligan III from Dublin came over and, whoopsies, then yeah, I'd say, gosh, you know what? I think it'd be unchristian of me not to do anything to take that guy down. He's doing this to children. And that's one of the big things with Jesus is messing with the kids. And anyway, but then if you have an older dude that comes in and is like, yeah, I'm kind of a freak. I'm known around the convent as the freak.
Wait, there's not a guy that's going to be in a convent.
That's my point.
Oh, okay.
He's called the freak. Anyways, he goes to confession, says something to the father, Gilligan, Goo, whatever. He's just... MacArthur, I don't know. And then, what do you go and tell someone? I don't know. It's a child. It's a minor. You gotta tell someone. If it's a full-grown adult, I mean, how many times do you think a priest receives people coming in and telling them in confession horrendous crimes they've committed or things they've done in their lives? How are they to determine whether those are, true enough to actually report, or it's just
That I don't know. I would assume in most cases the priest knows the person who's confessing and would be able to ascertain that. But because it's confidential information, nobody really knows.
Except the Pope. Because the Catholic Church harvests your information and then uses it to promote more Catholic products like communion and the Hail Marys to you, right? They don't tell your information to everyone else. They keep it private.
I'm
but they will use their own
apologizing
stuff.
right now for the Manchild.
I'm just saying,
comments.
Comments or whatever. What I'm saying is, you're doing this. It's the same thing as an Apple. It's an Apple thing.
That is.
No.
I am okay with them reporting child molestation.
Yeah, I am A-okay with them reporting that too. Because I'm not Catholic.
But I do think that it is interesting that they're going against what is usually the norm, that confession is private.
Right.
But I think that's okay. Everybody who handles information about kids and such like that are considered mandated reporters anyway. Mm-hmm. So if you hear about child abuse in any fashion, but specifically child molestation is child abuse, you're mandated to report it anyway. And so I don't think this is a bad thing. But it does start to erode a little bit of the confidentiality between a priest and a congregant, and possibly the authority the church has in our culture and in people's lives, I guess.
Yeah. I can see that. So, I don't know. You ever been to confession?
No.
I've never. You want to go together sometime?
No.
You don't want to go to confession? Just talk to a priest?
No, I don't need to talk to a priest. I
can
talk to Jesus.
I got that. I mean, you just go there to, just do it. Oh, yeah, I've done confession to see what it was like. I want to sit in one of those little confession boxes. I want to sit in one of those.
I could put a cardboard box up there.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Just put a sheet in front of the, cheesecloth in front of us.
Although I will say, I mean, I've been in a lot of Catholic churches, and
beautiful.
Yeah, some of the confession booths are very ornate and very beautifully done. Some great craftsmanship have went into them. But it's not something I practice, confessing to a priest. So I can confess directly to Jesus, which I think is biblical, and I think that's all right.
Yeah, Jesus is our intermediate.
That's not to say that I don't confess to people, which I do.
Like the police when you commit a crime.
Yeah, that's not.
How many times have you had to do that this year?
0.
0. Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm just checking.
0 is the number that's round and continuous, right?
Well, if you put two of those together, it's also an 8. But if you flip it on the sideways, it's infinity. So,
I think you're going to pass your stats class.
yes, I knew it. You know what? I knew if I tried just hard enough, I could. You know what else I knew I could do if I just tried hard enough? To make my iPhone SE last over 3 years. And guess what? It's going to last me another year, baby, because it was announced today, iOS 13, which is like the biggest overhaul to Apple's iOS for their phones, is going to come to the iPhone SE, which is fantastic. So I will still have this phone in 2020. I'm very excited about that because I love this phone. I love the form factor. I love everything about it. I think it's great. It's going to get the brand new operating system.
If you love it so much, why don't you marry it?
You can't marry technology in the United States. Besides, I am betrothed to the girl child, sort of. I don't know. Betrothed. I don't know how to.
If you like it, then you better put a ring on it.
Oh man, it doesn't have fingers. Oh well. I guess I'll just marry my girlfriend.
You could just put a picture of a ring on the screen, right?
That's not a real ring.
For that, it's real.
No, it's not. This has no conscience.
What are you talking about? It's an Apple iPhone. It's an AI.
No, Siri's not AI. It is the worst version of it. Like, skip logic. But yeah, Apple had the Worldwide Developer Conference today, where they announced a whole bunch of software things versus hardware. So in the fall, they'll announce more things hardware-wise, like new iPhones. But today they did software, so iOS 13 was announced, and there are some crazy features being added to it. First off, there's dark mode, which is fantastic. Everyone likes dark mode. It's very fancy. And then there's voice.
What is dark mode?
Dark mode is where everything goes black. Anything that's white goes black, like in the background.
So it just inverses the colors?
Sort of, but it doesn't like invert the colors. It just turns the light colors dark and the dark colors light.
So it inverses the colors.
No, dude, it's not. It doesn't invert the colors. It's just dark mode. Look, I'll show you. I have my YouTube app is dark mode. Right, YouTube's usually white, but this is dark mode on YouTube. When you do stuff, it's just darker. Right there. That's all it is. It turns all the white stuff. It
inverted the colors. So the
Dude,
letters...
it did not invert the colors.
Yes,
it just went dark mode. It is completely different. You can do it on Chrome. You can do it on a lot of the stuff too.
All I'm saying is it took the black letters and turned them white, and the background that was white is now black. So the colors have been inverted.
You can't say the colors have been inverted, because if you invert the colors on the screen and you're just as a general statement saying everything's inverted, you're getting all those funky wonky whatever butt loving goat cheese looking whatever do-rags of colors on the screen, right? Not just the black to black, blah black to black. All right, well, that is dark mode. Dark mode is just turning all the really bright colors darker. That's it. Anyways, that's a big feature everyone really wants. You have it on your phone.
I know, you could do that on Windows a long time ago.
No, you couldn't.
But
no.
I've been doing that on my computer since the 90s.
No, you've been making the sidebars different. You can make the background darker. It's not the same thing. But you cannot compare. You cannot compare freaking Windows 7 to an iPhone, because guess what? They're not the same thing. They're completely different. Apples to oranges.
The concept there, though, is the same.
Concept. Oh my gosh! A car has 4 wheels. You know what else has 4 wheels? A skateboard. Are they the same thing? Well, in general, they have the same concept. No, they don't use the same thing. They don't have the same kind of axles. They are not the same thing.
They both have axles.
But they don't use the same axles. That's the thing. This iPhone, the apps and everything, are made by different people, so everyone's got to be able to do it. Apple figured out a way on how to just automatically do that for like every single process and app. Anyways, which is something Android has. Apple's done it. Everyone's really excited.
Windows too.
Oh, dude, I'm going to tell you, shut up. Just shut up. It makes
Don't say shut up.
Why
say
even
quiet,
say
please.
Windows does it too? Do that right there. On our recording software, make that dark mode. That's a Microsoft product. Make that dark mode. Do it. Do it now. Because you can't. Because you can't make that dark mode. And you know you can't. Anyways, So they made dark mode. There's this new feature for people that like can't use their quadriplegics and everything.
Can't use their quadriplegic?
No, I'm saying they can't use their arms and legs. They're quadriplegic. So you say, okay, Siri, go into grid mode, I think it was. And then there's quadrants of the screen with numbers on it. So you say, press quadrant 3 or quadrant 1. Then it clicks on that. Then you say, press quadrant 2, and it opens Apple Maps. And then you can tell it to scroll up or scroll down or whatever. You can do that all with your voice, controlling it. You can type messages. You can do all of this. And it was really cool watching them do that. And then they also announced the Apple TV Plus and all that kind of stuff. So their Apple TVs are going to have TV OS. So it's going to be a different operating system on that. And then iPads aren't going to be on iOS anymore. So they're going to have iPad OS. This is the whole thing because they tried so hard to integrate all the software between all their products. But the problem was it doesn't work well all the time because if you're trying to integrate iOS between every product that uses it, the iPad's got a totally different form factor. It serves a different function nowadays than the iPhone, and it just doesn't correlate well. And you have to do all this. It's really difficult for app developers to do things for what they're doing with the iPad versus what they're doing for the iPhone. Because iPad has different functionalities than what the iPhone does. The iPhone has different functionalities.
In Android, I can load the same app on my phone as I do on my Chromebook.
Yeah, you can load the they do different functions. Like on the iPad, there's certain keyboards, there's certain there's styluses, there's different softwares. Like you can have like high-end Adobe software that's made specifically for the iPad. It's not just general for all Androids. It's specifically made for the iPad. You can do all these different editing softwares. They're made for the iPad, but you can't do it on the iPhone. But there's like cheap little freer versions. You know, they can't make it go to the iPhone. Just like there's certain apps.
So what does freer mean?
I'm trying to. It's cheaper. You know, you can buy the full-fledged software here, or you can buy like a dumbed-down version. I don't know how else to describe
Stripped down.
Yeah, a stripped-down version of it where there's like you basically just have an app that says Adobe. You click on it, you can flip an image. That's basically it. But the iPad has a totally different function because it's going more that computer portable route, and iPhone's becoming more just an iPhone. It's just a phone. So that's the big thing. So now they have their own operating system, and so does Apple TV. And Apple TV now has multiple account support, so you can do all that, all the stuff, different accounts. So, anyways, really exciting, all the stuff. They're re-releasing the PowerBook. What is it? The iMac Pro, whatever. It's the old Tower PC, the old Tower.
The iMac.
Yeah, the iMac Pro, whatever. The the old Tower one that our friend Tom has? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're re-releasing it, and it looks similar to the old one, but refreshed and new. Ooh, dude, it comes with 1.5 terabytes of RAM or something.
RAM?
If you buy that and its monitor, it costs $12,000. It's ludicrous. Everything you get with this thing. Anyway, so that was a cool thing. So me and my phone, we're gonna last another
Obviously,
year together.
You're excited about
I am very excited. That was probably the best thing that's happened today besides my lovely phone call with my girlfriend.
Aww.
Oh, I know.
Speaking of all that, and Apple tracking you,
mm-hmm.
So in the UK,
yeah,
one of my favorite movies is Minority Report.
Yeah, love it.
And the UK is using AI technology to do predictive policing.
Mm-hmm. I heard something about this really early on. I don't know when, maybe, I want to say almost 6 months ago, when there was a YouTube video where a guy was talking about this, but I just thought it was kind of junk. But obviously it's not so much junk anymore.
The UK, and specifically London, is one of the most surveilled
CCTV.
Populations in the world. So they're using software to predictively map police data and things that are going on to identify hotspots in high-risk areas and then they're in times, and they're going to send extra police into that area to try what they're calling over-policing.
To confiscate more, sharpened spoons. Jeez.
Well, yeah, because everybody's stabbing each other over there now. But of course, the government's being sued over this because they say that they're going to start arresting innocent people. There'll be, depending on the police department who's putting the data in, there could be biases stuck in there that could...
let's just do AI. That won't be biased.
Against certain... Yeah. They could bias against certain people groups. But there's certainly a lack of transparency that the population is getting scared of. I like the movie Minority Report, but obviously in the movie they're arresting people before they actually commit a crime. The precogs kind of figure it out, and then they put it together and go arrest somebody before they can stab someone or commit some other crime. I've got a real problem with that because...
Well, it breaks, what is it, the 14th Amendment, right?
Search and seizure.
Yeah.
And
but then again, it's the UK, so they can...
Yeah, they don't have the Constitution. But
Magna Carta.
But still, the concept even in the UK is that you're innocent and still proven guilty.
Right.
And so this kind of policing... I don't know. We'll just have to see how it plays out. But if they start arresting people because they think you're going to commit a crime, that's when they're going to cross a line. And as soon as they do that, all upheaval's going to happen. Now, this has happened in the United States, specifically New York, where Rudy Giuliani, when he was the mayor there, instituted the broken window policy, which basically was, if there's more broken windows in a certain area, we're going to send more police into that area. And then along with that is they did stop and frisk. If you looked suspicious, they were going to stop you and frisk you to see if you had weapons on you and just talk to you, which was ultimately found to be illegal, and they couldn't do that anymore. But the concept's there. The more broken windows in a neighborhood, probably the more problems there are. And Rudy Giuliani's philosophy was, if you stop all the little tiny crimes, then eventually that's going to stop more major crimes and clean up the city. And during his tenure there, Times Square got cleaned up, a whole bunch of the city got cleaned up. And my understanding is that that's kind of regressed a little bit. And certainly there's some other big cities, not necessarily in the Midwest, but on the West Coast, like Los Angeles, San Francisco, that they're letting people get away with minor crimes, and it's causing a whole bunch of other stuff.
They have the freaking bubonic plague back over there.
Well, potentially, but basically in San Francisco, if somebody breaks into your house or your car, a petty theft is considered $1,000 and under. And if you commit a crime for less than $1,000, the police aren't going to worry about you. And I think that causes a lot more issues than it should.
I do too.
That's just reality. So here's another kind of interesting story. This is about truffles. And this is a season of time where people go out and try to find truffles. They're kind of a delicacy kind of mushroom. If you don't know what they are, some people really like them, but there's a lot of people who are against truffle hunters.
So they use pigs?
Well, they do. They used to use pigs. Now they tend to use dogs.
Oh.
But the people who don't like the truffle hunters are poisoning meatballs.
What?
And sticking them out there to kill the dogs. Saboteurs have been leaving meatballs laced with poison in the forest with the aim of killing rival truffle hunters' dogs. And so most truffle hunters who are using dogs now put muzzles on their dogs so they can't eat poisoned meatballs. They're in the story here from the New York Post. One of these gentlemen who was hunting truffles with his dog his dog stopped to lap up some water out of a pool, even though it was wearing a muzzle. Couldn't eat a meatball, but was able to drink some water. Turns out somebody had put in poison. This was just like a little puddle of water, and somebody had poisoned the puddle of water. The dog started breathing erratically after about 10 minutes of drinking the water. The guy picked his dog up, threw it in the car, drove it to the nearest veterinary clinic, but by the time he got there, the dog was dead.
Yeah, if you killed my dog that way, you're gonna die. I think that is so cruel. And literally, you are a hunter hunting plants.
Yeah.
And you're gonna kill a man's best friend, his dog.
Yeah. That's the part of the story that got me. It was people are killing each other to try to, or not killing each other, but killing each other's animals, trying to keep them from getting truffles.
What for? Why don't you like them on truffles? Because you want to get them first?
Because yeah, basically.
We can grow them in a lab now, can't we?
I don't think so.
We gotta be able to do that by now.
No, because there's a weird.
Are they technically a fungus?
Yeah, but there's two funguses that have to come together in this weird mating kind of thing, and that's what makes a truffle. So they're very specialized. The largest truffle ever found sold for $61,000.
What?
In 2014. And the truffle market is $330 million a year. So there's a big market for truffles. And of course, they're kind of a delicacy. They get flown around the world and things like that. And people like their truffles, like sliced on top of soups and cooked with their steaks and things like that. But the real issue here is that people are trying to kill each other's animals over hunting truffles, and I really don't like that. But the other thing is you've got a great product when the Chinese try to brand their own kind of truffles. And so part of this story also in the New York Post is that there's a company in China that's been trying to pass off cheap truffles.
Cheap truffles?
Yeah. So they pass off the Chinese truffles, and they mix them in with a few genuine ones so that when a chef looks at like a box of Chinese truffles, he might get an actual truffle. But the balance of the truffles in the box are all these Chinese truffles.
It's like 60-40 in the box. You have a higher chance of getting the...
Yeah, it's kind of like they're weird mushrooms that they made a fake truffle fragrance and like put it on them, and then they're dyeing the skins with food colorings and stuff to make them look like an actual truffle, and they're just kind of lab grown kind of things, but they're not.
Ew.
They're not the same. So anyway, for you truffle fanatics out there, realize there's dogs dying over these truffles.
So you better love these things to death. There are poor little good boys out there dying to get them for you.
Yeah. So that little bit of truffle that you put on your spaghetti or your steak, enjoy it, because little Fido probably died trying to get it for you.
Oh, little guy.
Yeah. Well, the last story we have today is about taking your day off. Of course, last week was Memorial Day, and people took some long weekends and things like that. And there's been a lot of studies recently about people being overburdened and burnout happening. And then this is a story that comes out of CBS News, and it's about how being lazy and building idle time into your schedule and into your regular routine of doing things actually makes you a more productive and a more creative person. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I've experienced personally, that if I don't have downtime, although I can get a lot of things done, my quality of work goes down. And the older I get, the more I can get
senile.
Well, there is senile. The older I get, the more idle time I need to have the creative spark that I once had. So when you're younger, I think you kind of come up with creative ideas left and right, and you take in information in a different way. When you get to be the old guy like me, you become very cynical, and I don't know. It's just a little different. Your brain just doesn't function in the same way when your gray matter gets as old as mine.
Electrified piece of meat in your head.
A little bit. It's interesting that they end this article saying the last piece of advice he offered to have a good day off is to go and forgive someone. Holding on to grudges and not forgiving people can actually have physical repercussions. It can increase stress hormones in your system and contribute to cardiovascular disease. So this we know is a biblical principle. Our Savior Jesus Christ forgave us, which cleanses us from sin, but also the reality is that he wants us in good and quality relationships with each other. So not only should we have idle time and make time of recharging, which if you're a Christian, you would call that a little bit of a Sabbath, a rest day. God rested after he created the heavens and the earth. And we need to build that into our structure as well as people, so that we have that kind of time to recharge, but also we should take time to forgive each other, so that there's a lot of stress in relationships and it's just not needed.
Yeah.
And so,
well, do you think it's okay? So this is the way I feel. I feel like it's always I take a Sabbath, take a day off, have a day off, whatever it is. I'll just like sit in bed and watch YouTube or read, or I'll just sit in bed and try and sleep all day. But I feel bad for doing that. I feel like I'm supposed to be getting up and doing something.
Yeah, I don't know about watching TV or movies about that helping you recharge. I mean, they can, but like binge watching stuff, because TV kind of takes your creative. You kind of sell your soul to the TV. But I think reading a book or something like that causes your mind to spur on creative thought. When you read a book, you kind of imagine what you're reading, and the TV just kind of forces your mind to go there. So it doesn't give you that kind of ability to kind of think things through and imagine things on your own. Say like radio or listening to a podcast does. I'm sure people already have in their minds what we look like, and
outside
if they ever
the pictures on the thumbnail for this,
right? And so if they meet us in person, some people would say, "Well, you look exactly like I think you would." And
oh wow, Caleb is really short there, buddy. Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Well, you kind of are.
You know what? I am not that short. All right, I am tall in spirit, and I am spry in love for robots. I don't know what else. What am I supposed to say? Yeah, I'm the same height as Tom Cruise. Okay, Tom Cruise and I are the same height.
Yeah, we went through it. Your average height.
He's a millionaire and everyone likes him, and a Scientologist, which is really weird. But
your average height for humans around the planet
in 1960 in the
United
States. I'm the average height for 1960 in the United States.
There you go. So
it is not that century.
If we were still fighting World War II, you would be a giant.
I doubt it. Now, I believe in the 1910s, I would have been pretty tall. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'd probably also be dead by then. Annoy someone enough that they just like take the razor blades out of their hat. Just.
Sometimes I worry about you.
I worry about myself too.
Well, that's about it for today.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, we'll be broadcasting from the basement again next week. I'm the old guy.
And I'm the Manchild.
Don't forget to cross your streams with ours.
And share us your Twinkies.
Yeah. And tell others about the Twinkie. We'd really appreciate that. Until next week, don't fall up a down elevator. And remember,
if I don't come back, you made me come here.
Take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.